What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Dolphins In Depth podcast. I'm Daniel Oyefusi. Thanks so much for tuning in. Quick reminder, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the Miami Herald YouTube page, share, comment, all that good stuff. We are coming to you on the heels of breaking news just a couple hours ago. The NFL finding that the Dolphins have violated the league's anti-tampering policy on three separate occasions over the course of 3 years. And this is involving the team's pursuit of some of the biggest names in the sport, that being Tom Brady and Sean Payton, who has since retired. We're going to get into all of that, the disciplinary aspect of it, what it means for the 2022 season, and just the overall fallout of that. But first, I want to bring in David Neal, Miami Herald reporter, longtime sports writer, covered the Panthers, FIU, the Dolphins when I was probably in middle school or elementary school. Am I missing anything? How you doing, David? You picked a hell of a week to make your debut, but how you doing?
We're good. We're fine. We're fine. I wrote about today. Spent the day collecting some social media reactions to the Dolphins after, in between, writing about a lawyer who may or may not have misappropriated $288,000, and a doctor, a plastic surgeon doctor who may or may not be triple board certified, but definitely has a dead patient on his record now because he can't do any more Brazilian butt lifts. So you can read about that also, soon in the Miami Herald. Not as big a story as what we got going on in Miami Gardens, of course.
Yeah. I mean, this is just another day in Florida, South Florida to be exact, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's another day on the Dolphins beat. Like, being the Dolphins beat writer, it's a little bit like being Santa Claus. You busy for March, and then it really kicked March until December. You got to press on, and then right at January, you're going to get some time off.
Yeah.
Because you'll get a little time off, and then you got to kick it up again. But, you got your January to February probably pretty free. But this franchise, I mean, it's every time you think they're doing it right,
they're getting on the right path. It's like
yes,
one step forward.
They're moving forward. Bullygate. You got an assistant coach snorting coke off his desk. You flop in a season finale. Maybe you chose the wrong quarterback too. I mean, that too. We tank for Tua. Ooh, wait a minute. Ooh, maybe we should have been horrible for Herbert. I mean, that's this franchise for 30 years. I was just thinking about this. Like, everybody else in the AFC East, the Patriots been to 1,000 Super Bowls. The Bills, they've gone back to the playoffs now, but they had their playoff drought. But, they had been to the Super Bowl as recently as the 1993 season. Even the Jets.
Even the Jets, they had a little run. They had a little run to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, three AFC title games from 1998 season to 2010 season. The Dolphins have not been in the AFC title game since the 1992 season. We come from the 30th anniversary of that.
That's not an anniversary you want to.
Players on the team. Nobody on that team remembers 1992.
I wasn't even thought of being conceived back then.
Exactly. You weren't even the happy feeling. You weren't even the lie your daddy told your mama. I mean, come on. And this is, but yeah, and they just they haven't had a playoff win since December of 2000. Like, this just continues another. They did something that, frankly, they violated a rule probably a lot of teams violate, but they figured out a way to get caught.
Yeah.
It's like getting caught with a fake ID at a South Beach club. They're not even.
Everyone's doing it. I mean, everyone's doing it. You're just the one that got caught with it.
Yeah, you're the one who got caught. That's. And I mean, Yeah. And at least, this they were going for, Brady as quarterback. I don't know about the Payton as coach because I just I get the feeling he was at the end of his run. And, you see kind of after Drew Brees left, he did what he could and then figured out it's not as much fun without that Hall of Fame quarterback there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all my cute stuff doesn't work quite as well.
With Ian Book and Taysom Hill. But just a quick recap for the people who just maybe under a rock, maybe just did not see what's been
Yeah,
going on. The
just hanging out
NFL,
today, just ignoring, having
yeah,
happy hour, day drinking, whatever, working.
yeah. But a quick recap: like I said, the NFL found that the Dolphins on 3 occasions violated the anti-tampering policy in its pursuit of Tom Brady, Sean Payton. The league found that on 2 occasions they had communications, impermissible communications, they're calling it, with Tom Brady on the second occasion with Brady and his agent. The first started during the 2019 season, throughout the 2019 season. That was Brady's final year in New England. The second came during and after the 2021 season, this season that just passed, when Brady was a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the second time these conversations were, surrounding him being a limited partner, an executive, and also included the possibility of him potentially even playing for the Dolphins. There was a lot of reporting, at the Herald, outside the Herald, about that. There was smoke, there was fire. That's what the league found. They also found that the team spoke to the agent for Sean Payton, Don Yee, back in January about Payton potentially becoming the team's next head coach. Obviously, they fired Brian Flores in January. These conversations with about Payton happened before he retired in February, and the league found that they were not, given the consent of the Saints to have these conversations. Oddly enough, Payton retired in February, and then they legally asked to speak to him, and the Saints said no. I thought that was kind of weird, but regardless, it happened. So the discipline, two draft picks have been forfeited or will be forfeited by the Dolphins. One is a third rounder in the 2024 draft, but more importantly, the second is a first round pick in the 2023 draft. So the Dolphins lose one of their two first rounders in the 2023 draft. They'll still have San Francisco's pick, but obviously that's a huge blow to lose that. Stephen Ross, who had conversations with Brady and his agent back in 2020 or earlier this year, he has been suspended through October 17th and fined $1.5 million. He's not allowed to be at the team's facility, but a league spokesperson told the Herald that he can be at games, which I don't really get that. And lastly, Bruce Beal, vice chairman for the team, has been suspended from all league meetings for the rest of the year, rest of the 2022 season, I should say, and has been $500,000. So the league kind of dropped the hammer on the Dolphins with this. I've been writing just a bunch of stories, just reacting to the fallout of this. And I finally got time to kind of process my thoughts again. There's been a lot of smoke, a lot of fire around this. I think it's just kind of been this is how I see it. It's an embarrassment for like the fan base. It's like it's a bad look for the organization, embarrassment for the fan base. Um, but it's kind of, not to say funny, but kind of ironic that this comes the day after how should I say it, the suspension of Deshaun Watson, who obviously the Dolphins were interested in trading for. Watson just getting 6 games for numerous allegations of sexual misconduct, massage therapist sessions. And then you turn around and, we're talking about it in the media room today. I mean, Ross gets what's more or less a 5 game suspension, and some heavy fines that really don't really amount to anything because he's a billionaire. And it's like, yeah, the Dolphins, it's a very, very bad look for the Dolphins. But it's almost like when you kind of juxtapose it to what we just saw with Watson, it's like the Dolphins didn't do anything morally bankrupt, like against society. Did they do something morally bankrupt in, the eyes of the NFL's like integrity of the game, quote unquote? Yes. But I don't know. I don't know if, like, in the grand scheme of things, you're gonna find a lot of fans who are like really, really upset that the team, skirted some rules to try to get Tom Brady and Sean Payton. Like it's not a good look, but it's like if you're almost like if you're gonna cheat, like try to get like the best coach and one of the best coaches and best quarterbacks out there. It's not a good look by any means. And yeah, that first round pick is gonna like probably the worst, the worst of the discipline. But I don't know. I don't know. Like in the fan reaction that you saw and you wrote about. I mean, what did you see? Because if I was a fan, like I'd be kind of mad. I'd be mad at Ross because he just kind of always seems to like put the team in a bad light. But it's like it's not like we like did something like terrible against society,
They, the fans were mad at everybody. They were just mad at everybody. They were mad at. I think they were mad at like Larry Zonka. I mean, they were mad, they were mad at everybody. No, they were mad at Ross for kind of getting caught tampering. Most of them were about getting caught tampering. You had a couple that said, well, at least we were going after Brady. But mainly it was like, okay, wait a minute, you got caught tampering and you cost the team a first round pick.
Yeah.
Look, I don't care how many first round picks you got. That's another bullet in the gun. And you see the success rate of first round picks anyway in the NFL. You can always use one more. Hell, let's say Tua, falls on his face this year, and that those cute little crosses and everything, and he really can't hit the deep ball to Tyreek Hill, whatever, and he's not your guy. Well, what's to say then you shouldn't take 2 shots in the first round at a quarterback?
Or trading for a quarterback. I mean, there was like the Dolphins, they still do have very, very good 2023 draft capital. But I mean, Chris Greer even told us, he was like, we did not want to give up these draft picks in trade. I mean, they gave up some draft picks for Tyreek Hill in 2022, 1 pick in 2023, I think. But he was like, we did not want to give up those first rounders. There's a reason why they did not want to give up those first rounders.
Exactly.
So lose it for this. Like, it's not.
Yeah. So fans were mad at them. Fans were mad at Flores for kind of bringing it out. Fans were like wondering, well, what the heck, what was there a problem for Tom Brady? What about Tom Brady and Sean Payton, and then they were mad at the NFL for, kind of the juxtaposition, not just the timing, but also how many games. Is it 5 games or is it 6? I thought I counted 6.
I mean, it's like it's 5 or 6 weeks and he can still go to the game, so it doesn't even matter, really.
Right. It's kind of ridiculous. But and even if he couldn't go to the games, who cares? That man, you think he doesn't have a man cave? You think he doesn't have man caves in all corners of this continent? And anyway, it really doesn't matter. The 1.5 million. I mean, that's like here's change. Out of his pocket. It's nothing but the kind of juxtaposition with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
and a lot of people found it very interesting. The timing of this, that now this happens, and there's a lot of noise about this, and it kind of pushes Deshaun Watson to the side, I think nationally for a little bit, which if you look at which of the two are more embarrassing for the NFL, there's no question.
Yeah, that's
that Deshaun Watson is far more embarrassing to the NFL. And I know the man hasn't been convicted of anything, but
just not a good look.
How many women did he have, massage therapists?
Well, they said he met with over like 60 in over a year-long span, and obviously you had 2 dozen, come out.
Yeah. Let me tell you what, you find one that works. Trust me, you stay with
it. Yeah, that's what everyone says.
Especially when your body's your thing, your body's your millions. Yeah, you sitting around there, shopping around. So, that juxtaposition with Deshaun Watson, suggested suspension or whatever, that they're angry about that.
Yeah.
I think fans are just kind of angry about everything, and then just
Like
also
it's
angry.
almost like why us? Like why
Yeah,
us again?
exactly. And also, you're right. Like I said, you're a Dolphins fan. If you're 35 or under, you don't remember any good times. Maybe you remember the end of Marino's. You probably remember the end of Marino's career. Okay, but if you're, but that was 23 years ago. So if you're 25 or under, you don't remember that.
Yeah.
You don't remember. You remember maybe if you're 30 and under, maybe you remember, the very end of Marino's career when he wasn't Dan Marino every week. Some weeks he was Dan Marino, some weeks he was Dan Orlovsky, and you remember that part of his career. And so you're just getting beaten up every year, and you're really invested in it. And now you got this new coach. You're not real sure about him. And you hope he's all right. But again, you've invested so much hope in each one. Tony Sperano was going to be the guy. Nick Saban was going to be the guy. Cameron was. Oh well, it was always Adam Gase. Adam Gase, playoffs first year, he's the guy. And he wasn't even the guy. He wasn't the guy here. He's out in New York. And so you got a new guy, and so you hope he's the guy.
You like it. It's trending well. You like the aura he gives, but you still don't really know.
No, right. And then you got you're still hoping on Tua. There's a few who are all in on Tua, but you're still kind of hoping because management isn't completely sold on him. So, and you got the build up, you got the weapons put around him. So you're thinking maybe, but I guarantee you in the back of every Dolphin fan's mind, they're thinking, how soon before Tyreek Hill tears, not just pulls a hamstring, but tears him, and he's done for the year. How soon before Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill run into each other on crossing routes or something like that and suffer joint concussions? How soon before something weird and unique and almost unprecedented happens to the Dolphins to suck the hope, because the Dolphins are the super Hoover-matic Electrolux hope sucker of AFC teams, even more so, maybe even more so than the Jets. So, but yeah, Dolphins fans just kind of sitting there what this is again, of course it's us. Of course it's this team. So, but you lose a first round pick, we'll move ahead and really only feel the brunt of that
if Tua doesn't pan out. Yeah.
The other first round pick, if they have one first round pick and maybe they would have chosen some person who goes on to be like the next Lawrence Taylor or something like that.
Then you're like, oh,
with the other first round pick. Yeah. Oh, we'd have taken him too, but we didn't have that pick.
Yeah.
So, then, but I think this will blow over, and then we go on into the
games that
go on in the season
that matter,
and they'll just wait for the other shoe to drop on the head, on the Dolphins' head, not on the floor, or the other shoe to be up somebody's butt. That's the way it goes with the Dolphins.
Yes, not the finest hour for the Dolphins on this Tuesday as we're recording. We're gonna take a short break, but when we come back on the other side of things, we're gonna get into some underlying storylines with this investigation, McDaniel, Tua, as we touched on a little bit, as well as kind of react to the first week of training camp and our thoughts on that. So stay locked with us. What's going on, everybody? Still here on the Dolphins In Depth podcast with David Neal, talking the fallout of the NFL's investigation and discipline of the Dolphins for their violation of the anti-tampering policy. Like we said, the forfeiture of 2 draft picks, owner Stephen Ross suspended through October 17th, fined $1.5 million. Vice Chairman Bruce Beal fined as well. And I guess, we spoke about our thoughts, just a reaction to that, like the breaking news that dropped, I guess it was very early Tuesday afternoon. But the two, just, I guess the underlying storylines that stick out to me is kind of how this reflects on two people who the Dolphins need to be on their absolute A game to make the playoffs and to be successful in 2022. And that's Mike McDaniel, the head coach, and Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback. I mean, because the two prominent names that the Dolphins were pursuing in this investigation found were Tom Brady, the greatest of all time quarterback, arguably player, and Sean Payton, a Super Bowl winning head coach. I just think of how this reflects on McDaniel, Tua, how they feel about this, because I mean, this is a case where, I mean, you could say, again, for Tua, this is the second time that he's been kind of undermined, and the Dolphins have essentially been looking for his replacement. Now, obviously, he wasn't around in 2019 when they had these first talks, but in 2021, he was definitely around. They'd kind of pushed Deshaun Watson in that trade talk to the side. But the investigations found that among the discussions in 2021, or earlier this year, I should say, were about him, Brady, joining the team potentially as a quarterback, or just playing for the team. Now, there's a lot of hoops that they would have had to jump through to do that. But I mean, again, that's what the investigation found. And with Sean Payton, I mean, there were a lot of reports that he was their first target initially, and that they, once Brian Flores filed his lawsuit, brought attention to this, they like, all right, we gotta, let's back off from this, because it's almost like they knew something was up, so they're like, let's back off from this. And it was just so ironic to me to hear McDaniel. We spoke to him Tuesday morning, and he speaks about the support of the organization. Chris Greer, he's naming people like Chris Greer, and although Chris Greer wasn't really implicated in this, but Stephen Ross and Bruce Beal and Tom Garfinkel, and you're naming all these, like, I felt the love and the support. And then a couple hours later, it's like, shoot, they didn't even want you at first. We get the great fortune to actually speak to Mike McDaniel Wednesday morning, and I believe we might be speaking to Tua as well. I'm very, very interested to see what they have to say about this, whether they have any thoughts. But I mean, how does this, in your eyes, kind of reflect on Mike McDaniel and Tua, seeing as the team was essentially pursuing people that they would have liked to see in their place right now?
One of the realities that I think Mike McDaniel and Tua will have to embrace is the reality that a lot of coaches and players have to embrace, unless you are Tom Brady or, well, even Tom Brady. I mean,
they tried to replace him with Garoppolo.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Is that people are always, unless you are the absolute unquestioned best and in your prime, people are always looking to replace you.
Yeah.
I mean, for Pete's sake, Joe Montana was at his, he had already won 2 Super Bowls. He was coming off a bad surgery, but Bill Walsh brought in Steve Young, to kind of challenge Joe Montana, and gave Young playing time. As Montana seemed to be coming back from surgery just fine. So, that they're always, especially in the NFL, because things can get so,
they can switch, they can flip, change in a minute.
It can change in a minute. Your whole direction of your franchise can change on literally any play.
Mm-hmm.
They're always looking to improve, to see if they can improve. They feel like they can improve a position, or a position in the organization, a position on the roster. Do so with a general net gain. They're going to do it. Yeah. They're going to look into doing it. They're going to, as people call it, their due diligence, or they're just going to check it out. They're going to kick the tires, whatever phrase you want to use. They are going to investigate the possibility of getting better.
Yeah.
And if, it's that way in a lot of businesses. We just don't, we don't have, 17 reporters reporting on that business.
Yeah.
It even happens in our business. So, if you're Tua, you have to say, well, okay, they were trying to get a guy who was, winning Super Bowls when I was a toddler and is still playing and still winning Super Bowls now that I'm a grown ass man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, they're probably going to do that until I show that I'm the guy. And Mike McDaniel, he ain't been head coach somewhere, so
Yeah.
what's he got to say? What's oh, I'm offended that you were going after Sean.
I mean, in the sense, in the sense of, do they really want him here? It's like, is it couldn't get?
Yeah,
it's like you're the second choice.
Yeah, of course. Okay, fine. Yeah, you were the second choice. Yeah, Sean Payton was their first choice. Guess what? They'd rather have the guy with the track record and the Super Bowl ring than you, who has not been a head coach at the NFL
That's
level.
fair, but I even mean in the sense that maybe he doesn't have that backing. Like maybe, is there maybe he doesn't have that full backing of the organization?
No, it does. I mean, okay, this happens all the time in the NFL. You know that. Okay, we were going after this guy, we didn't get this guy. Now we get this guy. All right, fine. Yeah. Well, this is our guy. This is our guy. This is our coach. This is our wide receiver. This is the guy we wanted, that wide receiver. We didn't get that wide receiver. We get this wide receiver. We got to roll with him. Mm-hmm. And we're going to try to make him successful. We're going to try to make, if we have to wind up with the third choice, okay, we take our third choice, our second choice, whatever, and try to make them successful. That's just the way that it is. And so if you're McDaniel or Tua, if this is going to rattle you, you're not the answer anyway. Your ass is going to be out of here quick, because you can't deal. You have to understand that's the world you live in. I think they understand that. I'm sure they've all, in other situations that they've been in, this has happened. I mean, for Pete's sake, Tua replaced Jalen Hurts in college. Why? Because Nick Saban thought, is okay. We need something better than Jalen Hurts out there right now. So let me put this boy in, because Georgia's kicking our ass in the national title game.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. And Jalen Hurts went somewhere else. That's how it happens. So, if they're bothered by
just another day in the life of the NFL, right?
This is NFL. Stands for, they say it stands for not for long.
That's true.
You better. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, that's
lately.
fair.
Lately is last Sunday, last 2 Sundays. That's how it is.
No, that's fair. I mean, in the midst of all of this, we still do have the start of training camp. We've reached about we're about a week into training camp. We spoke about it before we started recording. It was crazy to see we had fans in attendance and just to kind of feel the life of training camp being sucked. Like I feel like after the news dropped and all the fans were kind of learning about it, the energies wasn't the same. Like they weren't reacting as much to the plays and whatnot. And it's like you forgot for a moment that it's like, oh wait, like we're actually approaching real football. And with that being said, like I said, the Dolphins are a week into theirs. It's been a pretty solid start for Tua, this new look offense. He's connected with Tyreek Hill a lot. Tyreek Hill still talking his talk. He's walking the walk for the most part. He's looking really good in training camp. Do you make a lot of the strides that they've made, I guess, in the first week? We had pads come on Tuesday, but this first week, do you put much stock into it?
No, this is the underwear. This is the I see a lot of gold medalists in the underwear Olympics who they are not anywhere near the medal stand when the pads come on. When it comes time to get dope popped by another grown ass man,
That's true.
It's a different ball game. Even still today, yeah, I know you don't get some of the hits you used to, and there's a lot more things you can't do. But it's still a game where big, fast, strong people hit each other hard on every play. So, let's see what happens. There's always a stage. I remember covering those rookie camps and those early training camp things where you saw somebody and you went, man, that guy, wow,
And then they put the
awesome.
pads on, and
And
it's just not the same. It's just not the
yeah,
same.
yeah, Lorenzo Booker looked like Reggie Bush, and then they put the pads on, and you know, he he looked like Reggie from the Archie comics. And but no, you can't. I don't think you can really tell anything. I mean, you can tell a little bit of something,
Yeah.
but I just don't think it says anything. It tells anything until things are even close to live,
Yeah.
right? Even team drills. Um, you can see some things. Obviously, you can tell some things, but when you get into the preseason games, um, obviously it's a step up in pace. So you have other hungry people, other desperate hungry people out there. That's when I think you start to see a little bit of something. And even then, it's a hypothesis until that first Sunday, when there's a flyover and everybody's, and you're down to the 53, and, you know, people start really hitting each other for real money. Um, that's when But, now, we can all look good if we know we're not going to get hit.
So I'll make one point of contention there, because before I came on the beat, I heard folk tales about how Albert Wilson and all the Dolphins receivers looked, and then they got hurt as soon as I got. Maybe I was bad luck, because as soon as I arrived, right before I arrived, they all got hurt, and I never saw this. But I heard folk tales about the great Dolphins passing offense during the first week of training camp. I was told this was the best that any Dolphins receivers have looked. And then, obviously they got hurt. A lot of them didn't come back to shape during once the regular season started. And it seems like at least this year, the start of this training camp, we're seeing similar things where, the passing offense is dynamic. They're making plays downfield. And I will say, and I don't think maybe enough people have mentioned this, but like a lot of this has come against the second and third string defensive backs. I mean, Byron Jones is still out. Xavier Howard has practiced very, very little in 11-on-11 drills, team drills. So it's like they're going up against the backups and the backups backups. So I will say that. But it's a little different now when you see somebody who has proven for several years that he can be one of the, if not the best wide receiver in the NFL. So it's like you see Tua connect with Tyreek Hill and you get excited about it, but you're also like, this guy has a legitimate proven resume. Albert Wilson, Will Fuller, these guys are good receivers, but they're not Tyreek Hill.
Right.
So you have the evidence of like the evidence right in front of you, like you're seeing them connect, and then you're like, wait, we've seen him do this in Kansas City. We've seen him end people's seasons, just like that.
Right.
So I will say, maybe I'm being a little too optimistic. I mean, it's Tyreek Hill. I think he is going to have an impact on this team. I mean, you're almost like a little bit of a hater if you're like he's not going to have an impact. He's going to have some impact on this team.
No,
But it's like what? But I do think there are legitimate questions like with this offense when it matters most. I think we saw it a little bit today. Like this was the first day with pads, and I think the defense won a lot of those team drills. I mean, Tua did connect on some nice deep balls, but for the most part, when the pads were on and the physicality was kind of ratcheted up, you saw the defensive line have its way against this offensive line that didn't have Teron Armstead. So I do agree. I do agree that, hey, you don't want to put too much stock in it, but Dolphins fans can legit look at Tyreek Hill and be like, hey, this is a top 5 receiver the past 5 years. I mean, we got him here. He's gonna make life hell for these defenses, one way or another.
Yeah, and yeah, he creates matchup problems automatically because you're not single covering him. Unless you think you're gonna, win some 55-45 shootout. And obviously he does open up a lot of things, and he will help the other receivers develop. who are similar kind of, especially the ones who are similar kind of receivers. They almost have like the type of guys you used to see in the old run and shoot. You know, there's not a most of them are they're not like huge specimens, but they're fast, they're swift, and can take 7 yard slant and take it 70.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to help. And he is proven. There's no question. He just
you got questions. You got some questions.
My question is, I question how well. I'm glad he and Tua are like looking good. Early in the camp. I question how well that holds up. When you get people in your face rushing you, people in your, people in, you're trying to hit certain windows, and yeah, I just again, something with this franchise, something always happens.
Something always happens.
But it just in a okay, let's assume everything's going to play out way. Yeah, this is definitely a much more dangerous offense, and an offense that should score more than you look at on paper. Yeah, this offense should score more, and the defense is going to give up. But we don't know if it's going to work out that way from a bunch of days running around in shirt and shorts, and one day dope popping each other in pads. It's in August. We won't, and and maybe it's I'm like the old project. I've been.
You can do that. You can be the old grouchy pessimist. I'll be the young optimist.
It's just I'm like, it's funny. Earlier in my career, I got fired up about training camp. And then you get fired up about training camp, and then
a couple days in it, you're like,
and then you go, yeah. Each year it gets shorter. Like each year you start on that first, it takes you about a week before you go, when's that first preseason game?
Yeah, I'm already eyeing it.
By about year 5, 6, you're like 1 hour into training camp, and you're like, when's this damn season starting? Let's get this thing started. I'm tired of this already.
I'm on year 4, so maybe I got one more year of optimism before I'm like that.
And it's not even optimism. It's just like, okay, look, let's see let's get to the real.
Yeah.
I'm tired of messing around looking at. There are certain players you find interesting to look at and watch develop. Maybe this guy can fit in here. But even the players you're interested in, you're like, okay, I want to see where they fit. I want to see how they're going to do. And there's only so much I'm going to learn right here.
Yeah,
I'm done with this. Let's go. Let's get the thing started.
Stuff going on.
So yeah, that I'm already at. Even though I don't have to cover the team day to day the way you do, I'm already at that stage. I'll watch the preseason games. I'll be like, oh, good, it's preseason football, yay! And I'll watch and I like watching the third quarter of preseason games when you get the guys who are just desperate to stay on the roster, and on all special teams, because those guys are
they're
really
flying.
Desperate.
They flying down. They're trying to make a play.
They have no concept of no caring about personal safety at all, and I want to see those guys, and then I'll watch that, and then after about a couple of those, it'll be like, okay, when's that third?
When's the real game? The real.
And then when's that season start? Okay, all right. What's the next cuts? What are the interesting cuts now? It's so. No, I just think, okay, we're 1 week into training camp. Good. That's nice. Nobody got injured.
That's probably the best thing. All the injured guys or all the rehabbing guys are on schedule. No injuries yet. That's probably the most important thing right now.
Right. You being healthy now. You're going to have another week or so, and then you're going to have the joint practices with Tampa. That'll be interesting.
That will be interesting.
All the national media like, whoop. Change that.
Yeah, change the flight schedules. Make sure we in Tampa for that.
Latrobe my ass. Let's get down to Florida. We've seen the Steelers. We heard from Tomlin. Let's see what's going to happen down here in Florida between these fools. So, yeah, let's just see what happens next week. And
Yeah.
let's.
No, I think that's definitely a fair point. Like you, I mean, you brought it. I was going to bring it up. The joint practices we got starts in about a week. I'm excited for that. I mean, I think that the joint practices are even, they always give like a better perception of, you always get a better view of the team when you face another opponent. Now you got the added Brady elements and whatnot. Yeah, it's going to be fun. And I'm excited for that. But we still have another week of training camp to watch. Pads are on, so get a little more physicality out there. They've been having fans back, in the stands or the bleachers, so that's been fun. Kind of get a little more element to a little more fun element to it. So I've been enjoying it so far. I'm excited to have you joining me for the podcast. I appreciate you joining me on this very, very hectic, very, very, very hectic day in South Florida and on the Dolphins beat. I appreciate that.
Hey, we're gonna have some fun with this year, hopefully, and because it's
I mean, it's the
sports.
Dolphins, so it's the Dolphins. So win or lose, we're gonna have fun with it.
We're gonna have fun. We gotta have fun. We gotta have fun because, like you say, it's the Dolphins and it's sports. I mean, for Pete's sake, this is not life or death, folks.
No, it's not. It's not. Arguing laws on Capitol Hills.
Yeah, I mean, it's if the team wins, team loses. I mean, really, how much does it really affect your,
you'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised from Dolphins fans.
You feel a little better. Any sports fans, it's sports are ephemeral. It's like drugs. You feel a little better for a short time,
and then it goes
you feel a little worse for a short time, and then it's like, okay, what now? Wait a minute. Oh crap! I'm still, my rent's still too damn high, and I still got to take, my kid's still asking for more money, and my life really didn't change because they won the Super Bowl. I didn't get a ring. I didn't get, I maybe won something on the sports. I maybe won something in the little square thing, in the betting thing, So it's sports. It's fun, and it should be fun, and so it's this is a very Dolphins way to start the season. It's a very Dolphins way to start this podcast, and I'm happy. I'm happy to do this with you. Happy you've honored me with the invite. And so.
Most definitely. Yeah. That brings us to the end of another edition of the Dolphins In Depth podcast. Again, I want to thank David so much for joining me, talking all things Dolphins on, another week covering the Dolphins. We'll be back next week to hopefully talk, some on the field football. But until then, you guys take care. See ya.